everyone. This is Ryan at Upscale Detail Co., and I am here with
Dan Parker,
and go ahead.
also known as the Blind Machinist.
The Blind Machinist, and I'm actually going to shake your hand here, Mr. Parker. This is an honor.
I appreciate the invite to bring me on and talk about what I do.
Most certainly, and I'll kind of let us get right into it. We've had a great conversation up to this point, and we've also got your friend, it is Steve, correct? Steven here with us, and just the conversation we've been having it's amazing. Your knowledge is well beyond my years, and so just being able to be here with you both is it's a treat. I mean, it really is. So why don't you take some of the time to kind of explain to everyone who doesn't know who you are, and the accomplishments that you've made, so we can understand.
So I was born here in Columbus. I took machine shop and welding when I attended Shaw High School. In the 90s, when I was in my 20s, I had a machine shop, and my main customer, they moved to Mexico, so I lost the contract. And I decided I was going to go out on my own and build race cars for a living. That was always my passion, racing. I'm a second generation racer. And I started building race cars and driving faster and faster cars. And then in 97, I got the opportunity to drive for Ellis Milner, who recently passed away, but he's from Waverly Hall. And it's called a Pro Modified cars. So those are the fastest cars on planet Earth that have a working door. So my car would go 0 to right at 200 miles an hour in 4 seconds, 0 to 75 in 1 second, about 2,500 horsepower. And March 31st, 2012, while testing a new motor combination, I had a very violent crash at 175 miles per hour. Right at the 8th mile mark, the car made a hard right turn into the wall, broke all apart, and I would wake 2 weeks later from induced coma to a new world of darkness. I'm 100% blind for life. While I was in the coma, my brain swole, compressed my optic nerve, and killed it. So I'm 100% blacked out 24/7. And sadly, one of the first things I learned about the blind was that the staggering unemployment rate for the blind is 70% in America and 99% worldwide. So as a man, we're supposed to be a protector and a provider.
Yeah.
And I was consumed with, how is this going to be possible? And I've had some really dark days, and but I got through it, and it came to me in a dream one night that I would build a motorcycle and become the first blind man to race the Bonneville Salt Flats. I did so in 2013. I returned in 2014 and set my official FIM class record with no exemptions for blindness, because I'm the only blind land speed racer in the world that's ever raced with no human assistance. I have a custom guidance system built by a friend of mine at Boeing Phantom Works that gives me audible feedback so I know how to correct my steering. And then in 2017, I decided I was going to build a car to go for the Guinness World Record for the fastest car driven blindfolded. That's the way they classify it. It was held by Mike Newman in England at 200.5 miles per hour. And so I started building a 2008 C6 Corvette that I bought. There was a flood salvage car, no motor, no interior. And to say she'd had a rough life would be an understatement. And with anything, a project or goal that enormous, raising the money is the hardest part there is. And so one night, I was out in the shop working, and I decided I was going to I had done some wood turning and made some pins, and I had to get rid of all my wood equipment to make room for the Corvette. But I had some pin kits left, and I decided, well, I want to make some aluminum pins, send them to my sponsors out of appreciation. And I made 6 pins, and 5 or 6, anyway, put them on Facebook, say, hey, if anybody would like to donate $50 to the Corvette, I'll make you a pin and send it to you. The next morning, I had 12 orders. And so that sort of started, a path to a business. It snowballed for so long. Every dime I raised went to the Corvette, and which I'm proud to say on March 31st, 2022, exactly 10 years to the date of my wreck, I set the Guinness World Record at 211.043 miles per hour, making me the fastest blind man in the world. But so now my main focus is I work out in my shop every day. I've spent thousands of hours learning and developing adaptive techniques to be able to run all my machine shop equipment safely. And so I make custom hand machine aluminum writing pens.
And we've got some examples in front of us of those writing pens, and this is I want to personally say congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Because you know, the amount of overcoming challenges and just making the most out of this opportunity. You know, not losing that mindset and that hard focus of being determined to still provide and make accomplishments and just push forward. It's something to you that seems inevitable. You're going to make sure that you find a way.
Yeah.
And we were talking about this earlier, is setting an example as a leader, and we kind of went into, you know, other opportunities that are opening up for people who are blind or have ailments or handicaps, and not looking at it as something that's going to hold them back, because, you know, new things are being introduced in the industry. But I do want to focus on these beautiful pens, because these are a true work of art. And so you've handcrafted these.
Yes. So I have 4 models basically that I call. So this is my slim, and so I start with raw aluminum for these 2 pen bodies, and I have to part them on a lathe, and I give myself 10 thousandths tolerance, so about 3 sheets of notebook paper. Then I have to drill and ream them within a 0.5 thousandths, do all the deburring and everything, and then I put this knurl on there for a grip while you're writing.
Yes.
And then I send those 2 pen bodies off to get Cerakoted, and I have, I think, about 8 color options. And then once they come back from Cerakoting, then I take standard pen kits and I assemble them. It's a special press that I designed, because most pen turners are using wood with a brass insert.
Okay.
And where mine is the aluminum. And so I hand assemble every pen myself. No one helps me at all. And this is my next model up. This is what I call my executive. Same principle as far as cutting and drilling and reaming. And then this one has 6 rows of ball nose dimples to provide a grip area for you. It's a fatter pen. The slims are 3/8 diameter. The executives are 9/16. So if somebody likes a little bit heavier, bigger pen, this is perfect for them. This one I can tell has a chrome clip because it's textured. I have black trim available, chrome trim. I believe this one is burnt bronze. And then when COVID hit, you know, we were all locked down and it was tough.
Yeah.
And so I set out, I wanted to make a pen that's 100% made in America. And this is it. This is what I call my Made in America pen. I designed, it's got 7 hand machine parts in this pen. The only thing I don't make is this little bolt for the bolt action mechanism, this ink cartridge, and the clip, the spring. So that bolt action mechanism, you know, to retract and eject the pen cartridge.
Yes.
This clip starts life as a piece of solid 7/8 hexagon material. It takes me about 2 hours with multiple setups just to machine the clip in the pen. And then every one of the Made in America pens comes with a hand machine base with these 2 vertical stands, so you can proudly display that on your desk, you know, as a symbol of overcoming and what's possible. And then, so this is one of the finished ones I made for my friend Steven that's here with me. So this is the base, the Cerakoted. It's custom laser engraved by PB Woodworks. They're a husband and wife, small owned business here in town. They do laser engraving, custom woodworking, embroidery. They're veterans, retired veterans. And so they laser engrave the bases, and then this is the pen that is after Cerakoting. If I remember right, this is black cherry with black trim. Is that correct, Stephen? It's red? Okay, it's red. So it's red with black trim. My Corvette's red, so that's always been my favorite color. And so that's what one looks like finished, one of the Made in America pens. And so my website is simple, theblindmachinist.com. You know, you can search YouTube, The Blind Machinist, and my Facebook page is The Blind Machinist. And, you know, we put videos up, you know, showing people how I do things, how I machine parts, set up, you know, independently and 100% blind.
That's amazing. So you're kind of talk to me about where that passion came from for machining, and you know what led you down this road.
I was always fascinated with the fabrication side of race cars. Early on, I made a conscious. I did not want to build motors or transmissions because my theory was, if I tried to do it all, I wasn't going to be the best at nothing.
Yeah.
But I want to be the best chassis fabricator I could, welder, sheet metal, just anything to do with race car fabrication. And that's what I did. I owned Parker Chassis for 15 years till the day of the wreck. And I'm a firm believer in skilled trade education, that we all don't have to have a college degree, and so many people can work with their hands, make good money.
Yes.
And that's something that America, you know, Mike Rowe, Dirty Jobs, a big proponent of promoting skilled trade education. And I think he said there's 7 million skilled trade jobs that's open in America right now. And so we have to get back on the path. You know, when I was in high school, we had 5 schools in Muskogee County that taught machine shop. Now there's only 5 in the state of Georgia. And so we're missing the boat there. Skilled trade demand is coming back. In the 90s, we lost it so much, but it's coming back.
And that, while it's becoming something of a dying breed, I think that it's important to realize the impact that it's having on our economy. It's having a huge impact on our new generation and our youth. And, you know, I think even Thomas, who's here with us, our videographer, can kind of agree that there's a lot of people our age that could really benefit from taking up a trade.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you know, it's going to keep you away from everything that's going on the streets right now, you know. Yep.
And, you know, skilled trade, there's so many opportunities there, whether it's electrician, HVAC, a welder, machinist, plumbers, you know, that as our fathers are getting older and retiring, there's not enough there to fill those positions. And as a whole, America, we need so many skilled trade workers, you know, and it gives a great opportunity to young, because I never went to college, but I was always a hard worker with a lot of hard work ethics. And I worked hard to be the best I could at the skills I had.
And you know, this is what you've done, and just so I can understand, you know, how you feel about this scenario. You currently hold the Guinness World Record for the fastest, and they signify it as being blindfolded, right? Yep. Driving. And this actually impacted a younger gentleman who is experiencing what you're experiencing.
Yep.
So could you kind of tell us a little bit about that experience?
Yeah, shortly after I came home from setting the record, I was sponsored by the National Federation of the Blind, and they're a very strong advocate group to promote that blindness is not what's stopping us.
Yeah.
And so we were contacted by Steve Hartman, who has the segment on the CBS News every Friday night, and Steve's nephew is blind, and he wanted to show him, because he was having some down moments. He was 10 or 11 years old at the time, and, you know, trying to fit into a school just felt awkward and out of place. And so we filmed a segment, and it's on YouTube. You can just search Steve Hartman, Dan Parker. It's a real touching little 3-minute segment, and I'm very proud that, my story of overcoming is breaking barriers for the young. His nephew's name is Ted. So it's breaking barriers for the Teds of the world to where they'll have a better future as a blind person than it was, 20, 30, 50 years ago.
Yeah.
And so, through everything I do with the machinists and setting records, I'm educating society that blindness does not have to stop us. And my hope is that if someone sees what I have done and a blind person comes and applies for a job at their business, they're not automatically turned down that it's impossible, you can't do this job. They'll say, all right, well, let's see with technology, in the course their skills and work
Yes.
ethics, are they a good fit for that, good place for that job? And I tell people that a blind employee is a great employee because they appreciate their job so much more than the average person, because it's tough. It's a tough battle, and you have to be a strong, advocate for yourself, whether it's going through college and trying to get all your college workbooks and your class assignments in an accessible format. It's challenging, but, it's doable.
It is. And you're not just, if you will, leveling a playing field, you're revolutionizing this, and you're taking lead in an area that has, it needs it. It needs it. It needs someone to guide and set that path that other people can follow. And I can, even though I have no idea, what you've gone through, what people in similar situations have gone through, I can appreciate that a lot. So with that, with where you've come from, where you're at right now with the pins, which, by the way, I'm going to get one. I'm definitely getting one. If not all of them. So I'm going to pick and choose what my first one's going to be, and I'm going to keep it on me all the time.
Cool.
Because I love these. They're amazing.
These pins, I'll tell people, I don't want a pin that is of substar standards, and people say, well, it's good enough because a blind person made it. Let's set low expectations. I want people, when they pick up one of my pens, they're absolutely amazed at the quality, the feel, the attention to detail. And then once they learn that a blind person completely made it, they're blown away. That's just the extra icing on the cake. I want something that anybody is proud to have. I've shipped pens around the world, England, Australia, and I'm proud of that. I've been blessed to have a lot of people support me.
Good. And you've got another right here, as well as you got another supporter here, as well as our team here. So, if you don't mind me asking, we've got the new year we just came into. It's 2024. Could you, by chance, if there's not any secrets that you want to keep to yourself right now, kind of tell us about where you're headed this year?
Yeah, my main focus right now is trying to grow and learn the marketing aspect right now for the business. Last year was really rough for me. My sales are probably down 50%. I know everybody's in the same boat. We're all struggling with the economy. And but the next major thing on my horizon is I'm in the infancy processes of starting a nonprofit charity. It's going to be called blindfaith.org. And Mike Newman in England had the record I broke. We're good friends. And he has a charity. He has about 10 cars that have dual controls, dual steering, brakes, and gas. And they rent road race tracks, and they let blind people with physical disabilities, other challenges, autistic, drive the cars around the road race tracks with an instructor with them. And they've just got amazing feedback, and they love it. The community supports them, businesses supports them. And I want to start something similar, but what we're going to do is we're going to put a twist on it. Instead of a road race track, I want to do it in off-road settings. You know, everybody knows how popular the side-by-sides are nowadays. So, you know, if we take a group of blind people to an off-road park, let them drive the side-by-sides with an instructor. They're wide open, you know, certain parts, they get to feel the freedom of speed, but then the obstacle courses of climbing and going down and bumps and, you know, articulation, maybe getting in the mud, you know,
right,
getting dirty, you know, that's going to give feedback to the blind person that they've never been able to have before.
Right.
You know, I tell people that if you ask 100 blind people what they want to do, 75 is going to say they want to drive. So I want to bring that experience through my knowledge and the blessings I've had and the accomplishments I have. I want to bring that to the blind and let them experience the freedom of driving and having a little fun in an off-road setting.
That's awesome. And so with that, what actions have you taken that have really helped you get to where you are able to do this? What decisions have really impacted this the most?
Well, I've always been a firm believer you can make excuses or make it happen. And that's actually laser engraved on all these boxes and everything. And you just got to make the decision that that's what you're going to do. You know, you can't have everything laid out in a plan first day. You got to be able to adapt and overcome. But you got to have that goal. Say, all right, I'm starting blindfaith.org. And I might not know how I'm going to get there today, but I got the faith. And that's what blind faith is. Blind faith is to believe in something confidently, which there is no evidence, it will come true. Yeah. And so, you know, you just got to take steps every day. Like they say, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
One bite at a time.
And so you just got to chip away at it and think, you know, study, think about how you can overcome the obstacles, how you can spread your message to bring people on board that has similar values, you know, that wants to help people in certain situations. And then I think once you get a good core group of people together, things start falling in place. But everybody that's around you has got to be a supporter, and they got to have the same beliefs as you, that you're there to, you know, like my situation, to better the lives of the blind.
That is awesome. And, you know, it's awesome just being here, talking to you and listening to the amazing mindset that you have, the determination, and I feel like I'm going to keep repeating myself, but setting an example, because there is a huge gap in confidence in today's generation, at least that I'm experiencing, and it's something where I have a saying. And that saying is no rest for the wicked. But it's almost like nose to the grindstone, keep going. You got to stay determined, and you just got to make it happen.
Yeah, we're all going to get licks. We're all going to get setbacks.
Yeah.
You know, and you just got to figure out a way to overcome them. You know, and learn from them. You know, any experience that's whether it's good or bad, you can take away something and learn from it. You know, what to do, what not to do, what did work, what was a failure. And then you can bring and continue on, keep that in your mental notes, and then you know in the future, you know, what you can and can't do. But confidence is something that's critical. I attended the Louisiana Center for the Blind school for 9 months in Ruston, Louisiana, to learn cane travel skills, cooking, you know, technology. And they have a class for 2 hours, wood shop, and they teach you wood shop not as an employment skill, but as a confidence builder. You know, if you can run a rated arm saw and your hand's an inch away from that saw, that takes confidence.
Yeah.
You know, and then the cane travel, to graduate, you have to do 3 drop routes. So they drive you around in a van for about 10 or 15 minutes, get you good and lost. You can't mental map where you are. They drop you off. You got to find your way back to school. You can't use your phone, and you can't ask for directions. You can't ask for help. And they'll have an instructor shadowing, you know, following you. And my longest drop route was 2 miles away, and I made it back about an hour and 15 or 20 minutes. And you know, that's part of building the confidence. You know, it's to be able to walk, you know, the city streets blind, cross, you know, every day you go back and forth to apartments. We had to cross a four-lane street with no stop signs, and so, you can't be like a squirrel, get out there and start jumping around. You got to
Right.
go for it. Put
Yeah.
that cane there and just keep walking. And that's what they teach you, to build your confidence up. And anybody has a small business or any business, you gotta have confidence, because it's a challenge, but in the end, it's so worth the effort.
It's extremely worth the effort, and it's something that Jared and I both have seen in this young business is you're going to have setbacks, and what are you going to do? And that's one thing that we love to teach the team, because every single person that we bring to our team becomes a mentee. Mm-hmm. They become someone that you're not just going to build in a professional sense of, I'm going to build your skill set, we're going to make sure that you're confident in using these chemicals, you're going to understand how they react with cars, but no, who are you as a person? Mm-hmm. What is your faith like? You don't have to be spiritual, but what is your faith like? Are you determined? Where are your confidence levels at? Where's your self-esteem at? And not in a sense of degradation, but in a sense of, if you're not there, how do we get you there? Yeah. You're our teammate. We want you to be solid in and out of work. You're going to be professional. This is what you want to do. This is something that you have a passion for. Let's get you there. Mm-hmm. Let's help you as much as we can to get you where you want to be, so you can be proud of yourself. And you're not going to owe us at the end of the day, because we can give you recommendations, but you have to make a decision.
Yeah, that's right. Collectively, with the right people, as a group, everybody can bring each other up.
Absolutely. That's what teamwork is. That's what we're trying to preach. And I've been in positions before where I've worked places and I didn't feel valued as a team member. Yeah. Or I just didn't feel like opportunities were open to me, and I felt like I was stagnant. There was no growth. And I've now come into a place where there's constant opportunities. We're always chasing, new areas to be in. We were talking about SEMA earlier, and in our network, we're a part of a network called the Detail Mafia. And has Jared kind of explained any of that to you?
He told me a little bit about it. Mm-hmm.
So the Detail Mafia was founded in the early 2000s by a gentleman named Rennie Doyle. And Rennie, when we trained with him in Big Bear, California in December of 2022, kind of broke down to us how he became the detailer of Air Force One. And he explained to us that, he had a contact, had something special for him. Long story short, he came out and it's Air Force One. It's the original. And it's one of the coolest things to see. But training with him, showing him, we're some of the guys that have got what you want in your network. We can bring value there. We can back it up. We're not just going to talk the talk. Yep. We love what we do. We have passion, and in everything that we do, we want to take care of people's needs, their vehicles and their vehicles' needs, and working with good ethics. And just long story short, we were accepted into the network, and we haven't been on an Air Force One team yet. But that's a goal for us.
That's cool.
We set that goal, and it's something that it also gives the team something to look forward to. Go through your trainings with Detailing Success. That's their detailing regiment, if you will, where you go. They have a couple of bases around the United States, but it gives everyone a common goal to work towards. Is strive really hard.
And take pride in your work. And that's obviously what y'all do here, because
Thank you.
You see people, and I've told this before, I've shared this before, it doesn't matter if you're working at McDonald's or whatever you're doing. Be the best you can, because you never know who you're going to interact with, who you're going to meet. That customer on the other side of that counter, it might be your next boss, or it might be somebody that sees you and sees your spirit, your work ethic, your happiness, you're willing to serve your customers, and they want to hire you.
Absolutely.
Just because you're at McDonald's, that doesn't mean, nothing against anybody working at McDonald's, but that does not mean that has to be your last job. It can be the start to great things, but if you got to have work ethics, you got to have morals, and to serve people, and the rest will be, you'll be amazed what will fall in your lap and take place.
Absolutely. And more importantly, over everything, throughout the trials, the tribulations, the days you want to give up, the days that are super painful, whether your anxiety's high or something's going on in your life, you know, maybe you're just sore from the day before, you got to stay consistent.
Yeah. These pens, I can't tell you how many hundreds of hours I've spent learning from my mistakes, that, you know, and making them better, and instituting tolerances that are super tight for a regular machinist, you know, much less a blind machinist. But, you know, that's what it takes to be the best, you know, and to, you know, my scrap pile to start with was huge, and my scrap rate was huge, you know, and so you have to stick with it day in and day out through the hard licks and the wins, and you know, celebrate your W's, your wins.
Celebrate.
Sadly, as a racer, and I'm still doing this today, we would win a race, but as soon as we left the racetrack, I didn't celebrate any of my wins, because that win was history. So now I had to move on to the next race, and so I don't have pictures from all my races and, you know, documentation. I didn't write down, you know, on such date I won this race, or I went out first round, or I didn't qualify.
Yeah.
And that's a part of my history that's gone, you know. But you know, celebrate your W's, and how big or how small they are, they're all a win, and that'll help keep you motivated during the tough times too.
Yeah, and I think it. Sometimes people take it out a little too hard on themselves. You know, maybe they feel like they don't deserve to celebrate, because you've got to focus on that next win.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to just keep going. Don't get, just some of the newer generation calls it, don't get lost in the sauce. Don't get lost in everything that's great that's going on right now. But it's good to moderately, you know.
Yeah, you gotta be humble.
You got to be humble about it.
That's right.
But celebrate it.
Yeah, and you don't have to throw a party with fireworks and bottle rockets and everything. You just got to sit back and say, man, I did it. I finally got something that, you know, came together. I worked hard, and everything fell into place. And so now let's move on to the next project or the next phase or whatever it is, and take that effort and keep pushing forward.
Exactly. So, you know, with that, if you don't mind me asking, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Whether it's, you know, an idea that you've had that you think is outlandish or far-fetched, which, by the way, I'm sure you had many doubters along the way of the things you've already accomplished.
Yeah,
but
you have no idea. You know, I want to build blindfaith.org. I want to change the lives of so many blind people, give them the opportunity to enjoy motorsports, and hopefully that can lead them to maybe going for a Guinness record. But as the racing career, you know, we got some things in place that 2025, I'm probably going to try to bump my record up over 230 miles an hour, and so we'll keep chipping away at that. But that's a huge commitment financially, and so it's a struggle to raise the money. It's all done on sponsors and donations. I've been absolutely blessed to be where I'm at through all this. So that we'll work on that, and keep making quality pens, and just keep pushing.
That's awesome.
You know, I recently started a career as a motivational speaker, and I'll start focusing more on that. You know, I've spoken to IT teams at some large corporations over the importance of accessibility. You know, that's a word that I never heard of before I went blind. What is accessibility? Well, now, you know, websites and Facebook and social media and everything else has to be accessible digitally, and that's a struggle. And so, you know, trying to educate corporations and companies that accessibility needs to be done on the front end, not as a forethought, not an afterthought. And So we work on that, and then share my story of overcoming to the masses is a goal too.
There's a lot of people that need to hear this. There are.
We live in a small house on just a regular street, and you can't hardly see my shop. And me and Stephen will joke, we say, the neighbors have no idea how much history is made in this little backyard. You know, that what's going on back there, and you know what's been accomplished, and which is fine.
Yeah.
You know, that's but it's you don't have to have the biggest, best right off the bat. You just got to start somewhere.
Somewhere.
And once you start, just keep moving them feet in front of another.
Humble beginnings.
Yep.
And
we all came from them.
Yeah. I'm starting to see this a little bit, and I could be wrong, but you know, some of the people in my life that have been the most impactful to me, to people around me, and to even large audiences, they're very sentimental people. They're very sentimental people who have value. It's almost like a third dimension of value, if you will. You know, that emotional, that mental, and spiritual and physical care for something.
Yeah. And
it's a beautiful thing to see when you see someone who has spirit like that.
Yep, no doubt.
And this is amazing. Do you by chance have any questions?
No. I would like to share, if anybody would like to follow my antics, my machining, and my racing, theblindmachinist.com is my website. That's where people can order the pins. They can contact me through there. My Facebook pages are Tragedy to Triumph Racing, and obviously The Blind Machinist. And please like and follow, share, subscribe. You know, lots of videos on the Blind Machinist Tragedy page and YouTube, you know. And I appreciate everybody's kind words, support, you know. Everybody that has helped me in any way, you know, I'm forever thankful. I wouldn't be here without them, you know. But I've been blessed.
Good. It's I think it's something that's well deserved, especially when you've taken and made an example for people to follow. You know, this is something that people wouldn't think twice if you know, someone else had been in your shoes and had let all of this set them back. But taking this and turning it into something that is going to inspire a lot of people, and I mean, you've got a lot more people to inspire. It's going to happen, and I want to thank you for being a part of this, because this is amazing. Seeing all of this firsthand and being fully transparent that I didn't know about any of this before we met. So, and that's what I was talking about earlier, was just and I'll put myself on the spot that I don't do homework on people that are coming on as guests, because I want that raw interaction.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I don't, you know, read a bunch of questions or anything like that. I go into it, you know, same way. You know, not unprepared,
right,
but unresearched, because I want it to be natural. I want it to be true, you know.
Yeah. I'm going to turn over to Thomas for a second, because we do have a live going on. Okay. And I want to see if we have any questions. Do you know if we've got any questions right now?
I've been checking off and on. I don't think so, but let me go through it here just to make sure.
In the meantime, why don't you tell me a little bit more about your car, the car that you've got right now?
So it's a 2008 Corvette. I designed it in my head. I've had a lot of people volunteer to help me do all the fabrication work. So it's got lots of aerodynamics improvements. It's got a full belly pan from front to rear diffuser. The grill's blocked off. I designed a ram air opening in the grill that actually produces almost 1 pound of boost at 200 miles an hour. So that's roughly an extra 40 free horsepower. Full roll cage, has dual steering. For insurance purposes and testing, you know, they want a passenger, because especially with the guidance system, I'm one of one in the world that has this guidance system now. And so it makes about 800 horsepower without the nitrous oxide. It'll easily make over 1,000 horsepower with the nitrous oxide. And it's quiet because I have my earbuds in to hear the guidance system, so I designed it. So it's surprisingly quiet, and it's just a 2008 Corvette that has had a lot of attention to detail from front to back. It's a pure race car. It's not street legal. It's made to go fast and go straight and bring it to a stop, and that's it.
There you go. With, you know, if you could kind of explain in your own words how that feels, because, you know, I've been in an Audi R8 before, and we've taken a couple of pulls in it, and that alone it's a fraction of what you're pushing in this.
People don't understand, but I don't really get much sense of feedback. The car is so smooth. I have molded earbuds plus duct tape over my ears before I put my helmet on, because I'm trying to cancel out any bit of noise outside of the guidance system. So that being said, I can't hear the motor. I can't hear it shift, but what I'm doing is an absolute extreme exercise in concentration, because my steering, I'm moving that steering wheel just that little bit to stay on course. When we rented the spaceport, we rented it for 3 days. The first day had 50-mile-an-hour side winds, and I could take my test car out and make laps and keep it within I could get up to about 120 and keep it within a 10-foot wide path. The second day we had 40 miles an hour winds, and I got up to I think 188 with a 40-mile-an-hour crosswind. The last day at noon, I had not broke 200 miles an hour yet. I tell people I was just about to have a nervous breakdown. I went to the left front wheel of my truck, sat down, put my back up against the truck, and I said a prayer. I said, God, if this record is not in your will, I understand it, but if you would, next time I take this car out, just throw every connecting rod out to give my team an excuse why we failed. Don't let them leave this facility with their tails tucked. And Jason come got me. He said, we think we were having some problems with the throttle body, and he said, I think we got something to work with. Went out there the next pass, it cracked 205 miles per hour. And so we brought it back to the pits. I made some shop calls. I could feel it compress in one part of the track, and it would move me around, bump steer. Yeah. So I made some suspension changes, put the moon disc on it. Me and Jason worked on the steering a little bit. My first pass was 210 miles per hour. And to set a Guinness record, you have to do one pass within 1 hour, turn the car around, prepare it, and make a pass the opposite direction. So if the wind helps you one way, it hurts the other, it averages out. If you go through that finish line 1 hour and 1 second late, it doesn't count. And so my second pass is a little over 212 miles per hour. So my 2A average is 211.043.
That's amazing.
So if anybody's got an Amazon Alexa or whatever, you can just ask it, who holds the Guinness World Record for the fastest car driven blindfolded? And they'll talk about me and the National Federation of the Blind, and I'm proud of that. That's pretty cool.
It's something to be proud of. Yeah. It is something huge to be proud of.
And one other thing, it goes with a tissue warning for this video, but you can go to YouTube and just search Steve Harvey, Blind Man Proposes. I proposed my fiance Jennifer on the Steve Harvey show, and she had no idea that it was coming. And it's pretty cool. So just Steve Harvey, Blind Man Proposes.
Congratulations.
Yeah. And one funny thing, we were in a break during filming, and Steve Harvey goes, "Where are you from?" I said, "Columbus, Georgia." He said, "You crossed the state line from Phoenix City, Alabama?" I said, "Yes." He goes, Man, I had the worst night of my life down there. And so Steve was doing a gig downtown, Columbus, comedy gig. This is back when he was poor. And he was staying in Phoenix City. Well, the clock in Phoenix City said like 6:45, and he had to be on stage at 7. So he got in the car, rode there, and the guy at the venue says, "Where you been? You're an hour late." He said, "What are you talking about?" He says, "It's 8 o'clock." He said, "I just left. It was 6:45. He said, "That's Central Time. Over here is Georgia time." He says, "Man, y'all don't tell nobody." And but it was funny that Steve Harvey is performing downtown Columbus, Georgia, and but he was really cool, humble guy, had a blast on it, but Jennifer had no idea, and you'll see it in the video. It's pretty cool.
I gotta check that out.
Yeah.
And so, how long have you guys been married?
Well, we hadn't got married yet. We were going to get married, then COVID hit.
So this was recent.
Yeah, I think it was 2019. I proposed to her, and we were going to get married after I set the Guinness record, and then COVID hit.
Yeah.
So everything's sort of been upraised. So we've been engaged, and but she was with me. We had been dating a little over a year when I had the wreck, and when they brought me out of the coma and told me I was blind, I just begged her. She was originally from North Alabama. I said, "Listen, just go home, get whatever you want, move back to Birmingham, and forget about me." I said, my exact words were hers: "Don't ruin your life trying to do the right thing by me, because I already ruined my life." Because I had no idea what was ahead of me being blind. I was scared, and went through a lot of depression, and had some really bad thoughts, but I've gotten through them.
I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
I'm very happy for you. And I'm proud of you as a not just for your accomplishments that everybody see, but as a man, because that's something internal that it takes a lot.
Yeah.
It takes a lot.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You are very, very welcome. And you don't need to thank me. It's even something that I needed to hear today. We've actually, it looks like we've lost Thomas, and I'm pretty sure we're about to come to an end here, come to a close. But this has been amazing.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it.
Been great.
I appreciate the invite. Get to show everybody my pens and share the message of overcoming.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't just. If you don't mind me asking, do you have kind of an official name for these besides
No, I named these my Made in Americas, and then I have my executives, the larger diameter, and my slims, and that's just how I classify them.
Right on.
And so it's all been an evolution. It took me 6 months of working at my shop almost every day during COVID to come up with the final Made in America pen. And this is my master. So this is the raw one. And this is the one that if I need to go start making parts, I'll pull it apart and say, all right, if I'm going to make that little hexagon piece, I can take the measurements off that. But they're threaded together, and I do all the threading, and the unscrews, the nib. So like I said, this clip, there's over 2 hours of machine shop just in that clip, machining in just that clip.
I've got an idea here, and the gentleman in the Detail Mafia would love these.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to be sharing these with the guys in the Mafia.
Cool.
And I mean, I can't make any promises, but I could see these taking a big part somewhere to help integrate that with what we do. So I'm sure we could make something happen with that, and they're amazing.
I need all the help I can.
Yes.
If anybody's watching or watch this video down the road, just share it at the Blind Machinist, because I'm basically a one-man band out there making pens, and I have a friend of mine, Ronnie, that does the shipping for me, and Steven and Ronnie will help me with videos sometimes. But most everything I do is, for the most part, is by myself, and marketing and getting the message out there is so tough. You know, we're always looking for that breakthrough moment. So I'm always, appreciative. Share, like, subscribe. I appreciate everybody that does.
All it costs is your time.
That's right. It's that's right. 5 minutes. It ain't that hard.
Yeah.
Support a small business.
And you make it easy to watch.
Yeah.
It's super cool stuff, and I love it. Before we close out, I'll check in with you one more time. Hey, that's fine. So we'll bring it to a close right now, and thank you. I'm gonna shake your hand. Thank you again, Mr. Parker.
Thank you. Appreciate the invite.
Anytime. And we'd love to have you back or get in touch and stay in touch and just.
Yeah, and y'all stay in touch about your car show. If it works out, we'll bring it because I don't live far from there.